What's up, YouTube? Alex here, aka Intch95, bringing you guys a duel of Nekroz versus Yosenju. I promised you guys I'd bring you guys a full match. I sped it up a little bit, shaved off 6 minutes, so I'm going to try to get as much commentary in as possible. It's Nekroz. I'm pretty sure I let him go first. I forced him to go first. I go second. A lot of people don't necessarily understand the concept behind that, but Necroz, they want to go second so they can loop you, so they can, when I say loop, I mean Trishula loop you, not Dijin loop you. The turn 1 Dijin is not that great. He's doing his standard turn 1 plays. My hand is fine. I mean, he doesn't know what I'm playing, so he's obviously not going to put like a ton of big monsters on the board. That would just be dumb. But here, it gives me more chances with that 6 card to draw more floodgates. I only drew 1 in my first 5, but here I can put a lot of pressure on board and ideally establish a Carnagorgon setup or Carnagorgon Giant Hand. Plus anti-spell fragrance. So here I draw Dark Hole. My hand's actually pretty good. Like I like it. I'm not seeing a lot of traps, unfortunately, but the anti-spell fragrance should be enough to slow him down at least temporarily until I draw like an emptiness or something. Keep in mind this is a little bit of my older version. I'm not running mistakes main decked in this version. My newer version main decks mistakes. I think this one, I don't remember if we side decked in this game. I think this was just unrated. I'm not really too sure. I think this is an unrated match. But it was still a pretty high-rated player, I think. So anyway, here he lets me 10 key. I'm going to do all my standard stuff. Pretty much put a bunch of big monsters on board. Now, I know this isn't live, but basically, I tried to do it live. It's just hard to record commentary live. And I'm really, like, the recording, like, basically the preview that I'm looking at, it's like a really small screen, so it's kind of hard for me to see all the cards in my hand. But I can see two comma 3s, a comma 1, comma 2, Dark Hole, and a Spell Fragrance. So, like I said, here I'm pretty much just going to go, I summoned the one that I just searched, just because I don't want to give up more information for my hand. Normally I would summon the comma 3 first, but I'm going to go comma 2, comma 3. If he doesn't have anything for this, I'm going to get 4 monsters on board, basically. There are situations where I actually don't just plop down all my monsters against certain decks, especially with Mirror Force. I know some players choose to tech it in. The reason why you wouldn't always, like, against Necroz, it's obviously fine. But against all decks, you don't really want to do this because, like, you don't want to overcommit all your monsters, because if they can deal with your monster setup, then you pretty much just have nothing to back you up next turn. You don't have a follow-up play, and this deck is a slow, grindy deck, and you don't really have any real comeback cards. You don't have any, like, you don't have Shaddoll Fusion, you don't have, like, Dark Armed, you don't have BLS, you don't have, like, Yosenjus, you don't have, like, Kaleido Mirrors, you don't have Scout, you don't have any of those types of cards. You don't have Tour Guide, you don't have Soul Charge, which I would consider running Soul Charge in here, to be honest. But anyway, here I'm just pushing. He doesn't have Valkyrus, which, I mean, is fine. I was kind of hoping he would Valkyrus me. People keep saying Valkyrus is what costs you the game. Or what Valkyrus is rather what hurts the most. Now, actually, I learned an interesting ruling, rather. Not interesting ruling, but actually the first time I read Valkyrus, I thought it targeted. It doesn't target. That's why I was running the Yosenju guys in this. I would still run it at least as a one of. But right now in this play, it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to let my monsters go back to my hand. I'm definitely going to exceed. Here I choose to go I'm pretty much thinking, like, okay, I know his back row is probably like a mirror, or like an MST. I'm assuming he's holding his MST. He didn't want to use it on the 10 key. He's probably going to hold it for like a floodgate or some relevant back row. So what I'm going to do is, worst case, if it's an eclipse, which he probably would have just eclipsed all my monsters there to prevent me from killing his Monju, which I'm not getting a read on Eclipse or Book of Moon here. It could still be a regular Book of Moon. So what I'm going to do to try and bait that out is I'm going to try and go activate the Yosenju guy, so he can't target my guys. Actually, no, it doesn't work like that. He's just destroy a battle. But I play it. You guys will see why. I was thinking that's the targeting effect. But essentially here I'm going to go Lightning Chidori to force his back row out. If he's still for some reason holding an Eclipse, he's obviously going to chain it here because otherwise this thing gets spun. I get the correct read on the MST, and it pays off because here he obviously changed it on thing, and I end up establishing a Carnagorgon, and this is extremely potent and strong here because now he can't really out my board immediately unless he has another MST in his hand plus like Raigeki Dark Hole. So I immediately flip the anti-spell fragrance. My Carnagorgon is going to protect against MST here. I can retarget it to my Tenki. I can retarget to my Dark Hole. I can pretty much retarget anything relevant right now, at least twice. And the fact that he can't play all his mirrors and just spam them like out the ass means that I can pretty much push here if he doesn't have a Valkyrus, and just annihilate him and use my my Lightning Chidori to spin anything that he does put face up on board. So this game, I'm not out of the woods yet, at least in my point of view. Here I'm pretty much just hoping the fact that he doesn't have multiple mirrors plus Valkyries to like have a follow-up play next turn, because that's one of the issues with anti-spell fragrance. It can slow them down, and unlike Mistake, and I don't know why he does this, he actually just forgets about anti-spell fragrance mindlessly. I don't know why he does that. I told him that he can't flip face down. But the thing with spell fragrance versus Mistake is like Mistake, it shuts down all their searching immediately. But I feel like spell fragrance shuts down all their like spells immediately, and it like forces them to set them first, which means you can like exit on their board next turn, right? Or you can Diamond Eye them, or you can Lightning Chidori them. You can do any of that stuff, right? So he does have a ton of back rows, and that's very dangerous for me, because if he has a Valkyries, and I don't draw like a defensive card right here, where I can establish some kind of defense to clear those, then I'm in a very bad position, because then he can just like Valk me and then put a bunch of monsters on board and then just out my board. And then the Spell Fragrance isn't doing anything. Now, if it was Mistake here, it would be less, I'd be more vulnerable, because you would just be playing all those cards that wouldn't be doing anything. So I feel Anti-Spell Fragrance prolongs you losing much faster than Mistake does, but Mistake can cause more blowouts, if that makes sense. Like I feel Anti-Spell Fragrance is better overall, but Mistake can just like prevent your opponent from doing anything. Like it can just be immediate blowout. And I keep in mind, like I said, this is an older version, so here I'm just summoning the Sujic I drew. He's probably going to Valk here, which he does, obviously. Now, unfortunately, the Sujic will go back to my hand, but it's okay. I'm not really in range of Trishula unless he can clear one card on my field or forces me to negate something with Carnagorgon, because I have an empty graveyard. So we're fine right here. I'm pretty much just trying to avoid Trishula and hope that he doesn't have like any immediate answers. Obviously, no, he revealed the Kaleido Mirror by mistake. So, like I said, here my thought process is pretty much just hope that he doesn't have anything, because this deck, like, you can't really come back a lot from like really like from a losing position. It's not like one of the top decks, obviously. Yosenju is still a very fun, good deck, I'd say. I wouldn't say fun; it's a pretty linear deck, but it's almost like an Ophion type deck. At least when you play it, you guys will probably see what I mean. It's pretty much just sit on soft lock cards and try to protect them. I'm not sure if in this particular duel, because this duel was filmed maybe like 3-4 days ago. I'm just getting to the commentary, so I'm not sure if I was running double Carnagorgon in the extra deck in this deck, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not sure if I had Diamond Crab King in this extra deck. I was playing this is just a blind matchup. I wasn't sure what I was playing against, but I always picked to go second. So here he's doing his prep into Kaleido with Brio play. He's probably going to put a couple monsters on board. Now I'm in a very vulnerable situation, because my Carnagorgon can pretty much just get run over. I have no real defense, and I can't use any of their effects right now because of that Unicorn. So he's pretty much just leaving me in range for Trishula and just a ton of damage here. He's going to Brainiac both my monsters, and I just can't respond to this. So, and you guys can also see why I set the Dark Hole, not just as a bluff, but also because if I had that Anti-Spell Fragrance and I was holding the Dark Hole in my hand, I wouldn't be able to play it next turn or any time that he comes back from whatever I have. So he does end up making a comeback play here. And my Dark Hole is looking very, very pretty right now, because I can just Dark Hole and then summon. If I draw another monster or defense, it's just great for me. So here, obviously, I'm taking this damage. I'm okay with that. You know, I'm still relatively high, but I can't afford to take too much damage in the next couple turns. But like I said, I'm clearing monsters. He is going to have that Mirror in the grave to search another mirror once I Dark Hole him the following turn. But I draw a Mirror Force. Now, that's very, very critical here. I'm starting to get low on life. I can't actually see what I'm at. I think I'm like at 30-something. I'm looking at the rerun on a really small screen. But here I Dark Hole. I'm obviously going to go Summon Sujic, Boost, and then Attack for 2100. For those of you guys who don't know what Sujic does, just watch my profile. I posted a deck profile of my of this particular variant of the deck on my channel. So you guys can definitely just check that out. Let's see here. So here I'm Dark Holing. I don't know why he's taking forever. He's kind of just being slow here. There are parts where I wish I could have sped it up, but I guess in the time where he's not really doing anything and nothing exciting is happening, I can just talk about. By the way, if at the end of this video you guys enjoyed this commentary and would like to see more, drop a comment. Actually, if you guys are watching this on someone else's channel, and if I'm doing this as a video swap with someone else, please check my channel out. I do a ton of competitive content, real life stuff, event coverage, etc., etc., etc. Check out my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook fan page, all that stuff down in the description. And drop a like. I really like hearing people's comments. But anyway, here I just poked with Sujic for the 21. Now he has to have a Valk here, or has to have a real play to pretty much stop me. So the Mirror Force is just looking very pretty here. He's obviously going to, do his banish searching plays here. Um, and I'm going to be in a position where, I need to make a play the following turn. Hopefully my battery holds up for this commentary, because I just got out of class. So yeah, should hold up for the rest of this commentary. It would definitely suck to have to do this commentary over again. And this is a full match, actually. I was going to do this in games, but I'm just going to do the whole match. Yeah, I don't know why he's taking forever here with these plays. This play is pretty trivial here. I think I was actually prompting him to hurry up a little bit. But yeah, so you guys should definitely subscribe if you already haven't, or if this is your first video on my channel. I'm definitely trying to like branch out and do a lot more videos with other people, and just on my channel in general, kind of get a lot of different things going on. My bread and butter is definitely competitive stuff. Competitive deck profiles, Stereo, competitive match analysis, live deck profiles. So here, he summons an Archmage. Now, here, my thought process is, okay, worst case scenario, he has a Decisive Armor. He's not going to activate it. When I summon the Sujic next turn, I'm going to attack, and then he's going to Decisive Armor. So here, I opt a Mirror Force. Not because I would be in critical range, but because on the off chance he does have the Decisive Armor the following turn, and I don't draw anything real, I'm in a terrible situation. So here, I am forced to Mirror Force. Because he's already using his Battle Phase. He can't do anything real to me at this point. The only thing is, like, what? He's going to Gungnir his thing? What? He's going to have a Decisive Armor for the following turn? And sure enough, I draw something irrelevant, which is a Sujic. Another one, actually. And this is why Sujic isn't that great in the deck, but you're forced to run it. So here he scoops. He shows me he doesn't have anything, but I had to play the precautionary measures. I don't know why here. I think it interrupted. Oh, I think I just skipped the side decking to go straight into the next game. I did side deck, so here I draw Macrocosmos. Very, very important. He chooses to go first. I find that kind of strange again. But I guess he wants to avoid all the floodgates. So my hand is actually not that bad. I obviously have the 2-1s, which is not that great, unfortunately. But I feel like if he doesn't have anything that can, like, any immediate twisters, MSTs, or even roll decree, because I know a lot of people running that now, or he can't put a big monster on the board, which even if he does have the Snatch Steal play for it anyway. So hopefully he has like a Manju Senju, because if I don't draw another monster next turn and he has like Manju Senju, I can just go summon comma 1 and then Snatch Steal his monster. So I mean, I have 2 chances to draw a monster or a monster floodgate, or even 2 floodgates. So he does have a Senju here. We know he has the Necroz mirror in his hand after the post Clazalis search. And he's probably gonna get a Brio here. This is the first. Oh, he gets Trishula. Okay, he gets Trishula. So he's trying to put me in risk of Trishula next turn. He just passes. That is huge. I draw a Fiendish Chain. Now here, believe it or not, I contemplate activating Upstart or not on the off chance that he's holding. He has Trishula. So even if he knows I'm gonna play around Trishula and I have like back rows and floodgates and stuff. The problem with that is if he has those answers and I upstart, I'll have a card engraved that he can Trishula, because I'm not going to be able to dump my whole hand because I have a double copy of comma 1 in hand, or Yosenju comma 1 in hand, and that's very detrimental to me. But the way I look at it is if I'm going to establish Carnagorgon anyway, my Snatch Steal is going to go to the grave. So I'm going to have a card in hand, that being one of the comma 1s, and a Snatch Steal in the graveyard anyway. So here I opt to play the upstart. I draw another one, so obviously I'm going to play that. I already committed into this play. So I draw a Mirror Force, and that's huge. That's fantastic defense. I have 2 real defensive cards, one that plays around Trishula, another one that's going to stop his mirrors when he activates them. So here, I'm simply going to go comma 1 into Snatch Steal, poke with both, make Carnagorgon, set Macros, set Fiendish, set Mirror Force. And my thought process for the next turn is I'm not going to immediately activate Macrocosmos, despite it hurting, cards like Bryanak Clazalis, because I want him to play his mirrors. And if he's going to try and mirror into Trishula or mirror into Unicorn or mirror into whatever, I can hit more cards that way, because he's going to have to, if he does like Kaleido Mirror or something, he's going to have to banish his Herald, so he's not going to get anything. His Kaleido Mirror is going to get banished. If he activates another mirror, he's going to have to banish a Shrit from hand, or he's going to have to banish 2 other cards to establish a Trishula or something else, right? So if I just hold my macro to whatever he does, like whatever mirror he plays, I'll be able to chain it, right? His things will get banished. Who cares if he gets a monster on board, because it doesn't matter. I'll be able to stop it, however, because he doesn't have that many offensive cards unless he has multiple like spaces and twisters. And I can redirect any of those, at least one of those, with Carnagorgon. So here, like I said, I'm going to be waiting. That Yosenju comma 1 in my hand isn't doing anything right now. I just need to draw any Yosenju card or Tenki. I'm pretty sure I was still running dualities in this version. I don't really like duality in the deck anymore, but, duality into any of those cards. Duality's alright. I mean, I really like the Floodgate version of the deck. I mean, if you're going to a premier event, I think you should just definitely be focusing on, you know, a stat like soft locking your opponent. Pretty much just going the Ophion route with this deck and just soft locking your opponent out of everything. So let's see. So here he is still taking a while to make up his mind on what he's doing. While I'm doing that, let's see if I can try and win this eBay auction. Oh gosh, let's see how much time is left. 11 minutes and 33 seconds on this auction. We're going in. We are going in. Okay, I don't know why he's still taking forever. Should probably grab a Mountain Dew in the meantime. Come on, young fella. Chop, chop. Okay, here he goes, Yosenju. Now, I am not going to Fiendish Chain that, because if he has multiple answers and can establish a Trishula or Unicorp plus something else, and then can out my Floodgates or other back rows, then I'm in a terrible situation. I don't care about Yosenju. It doesn't matter what card he gets, but if it's like Klazolus into a mirror, or if it's, you know, Bryanek into whatever, I'm still not going to macro. I'm just going to wait till he does all his plays and then plays a mirror. Because then, if he puts multiple monsters on boards and he can't out my like, let's say my macro, and he can't out my Fiendish. Whether he outs my Fiendish or not is actually irrelevant, because if he puts multiple monsters on board, I'll at least be able to stop 2 of his plays and hurt his graveyard with the macro, right? Assuming he doesn't have multiple Twisters MSTs, right? So here he goes, Necroz Mirror. And he rushes his play. I'm like, whoa, 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 here, and I'm telling him, no. And he is trying to do the Unicorn play to lock my Carnagorgon out of this. But that's what I'm trying to prevent exactly. And I'm also trying to hold the Fiendish in case he has like an Exoton play or the Trishula. So obviously if he can put multiple monsters on board and he's just trying to push over my Carnagorgon and push over my monster just to clear my board and make my Floodgates irrelevant, then I'm obviously just going to Mirror Force and he just gets blown out even further. So here I do the Macrocosmos. Luckily he doesn't have MST or Twister. His Mirror gets banished and his card that he used for it gets banished. And that is huge for me. He loses 2 more resources that he could have otherwise used in the first place. So here, I don't know why he's declaring Unicorn's effect. I know that it negates. I mean, I'm just telling him, do your thing. I'm obviously here still not going to Fiendish Chain him, because what is it going to do? It can't run over my Carnagorgon. The only way it's going to run over my Carnagorgon is Decisive Armor, and I have Fiendish and Mirror Force, which I would probably just Mirror Force here, if he attacked and is giving me a read on Decisive Armor. And I know he still has Trishula in hand. And I forget what the last card is, one of the other cards. I think I know 1 or 2 cards in his hand. I actually just looked away and I wasn't paying attention. But I definitely know he still has the Trishula from turn 1. So here he's overlaying. And I'm assuming he's going to go Exoton. Exoton is just not going to do anything. The only time Exoton here is going to be relevant for me is if he has a Book of Moon or Book of Eclipse. Now, Book of Eclipse absolutely sucks against Yosenju's, except in this situation, which I love it when people side that card out because they don't want to give me draws because all my stuff gets bounced if I'm putting multiple monsters on board, right? So here he does go for Exoton, and I Fiendish Chain. Now here, I know he has Trishula. That means he can only have 2 other cards that could be MST or Twister, potentially, which they're not, and the odds of that are very unlikely, in which case I would still win, more than likely. I wouldn't necessarily win, but I would be in a fantastic situation, because I could retarget twice with Carnagorgon. And I draw Yosenju, 3. That is absolutely huge, because now I can start searching. I don't run the trap, but I can search my Yosenju. Oops, I apologize. I totally just left my screen. But I can search my Yosenju guys. I can my Pendulum guy to put more pressure on board and give another card that I could pop with my Carnagorgon to retarget. I can search on number 2. Here I was thinking about bouncing Exoton or not. He auto assumes I'm going to do it. I do end up doing it. The reason I contemplate not doing it here though is because if he can out my board with, if he has like Eclipse, Dark Hole, whatever. And I just flat out just lose to him searching everything and then being able to he's not going to Trishula me here obviously, but I'm saying if he's able to establish a board in general, any board, I can't really deal with any board if he can clear my field with Dark Hole, Regeki, Eclipse into whatever, and MST for face down. Just worst case scenario, he doesn't have many resources, so I don't want to bounce his Exoton initially just because I don't want him to make it again and have another Exoton. They obviously only run 1, but I opt to do it. And here I think I was also considering going Brotherhood of the Firefist Bear, or not Bear, the Tiger King guy, and then getting a Tenki, setting the Tenki obviously, or searching, or I definitely wouldn't search with Tenki, I would just set it, And then I would go negate thing and then tack tack. But here I just go bounce and then tack with everything. I don't care because I feel very safe. My goal here is just to make giant hand. And this is the situation where giant hand is very, very critical because I can stop two monster plays that he has with Fiendish and Giant Hand. So Manju Senju isn't a real answer. So here it's pretty much just like prep and like trying to maybe do like Trishula Unicorn into like Exiton again, or do something into Exiton again. And he's not going to be able to do that. And I'm going to have multiple cards to redirect to with Carnagorgon. So here I get the Yosenju. I end up overlaying here for Giant Hand. I was also thinking of making Rhapsody, believe it or not. This is why I check his graveyard. And I think Rhapsody might be great. But what is he going to do? Necroz Mirror into Trishula? I mean, it just doesn't matter here. And I do think about doing Rhapsody. But I think Giant Hand is ultimately more safe. And worst case, it keeps me in the game longer. Despite not causing an immediate blowout. But I have Macro, I have Mirror Force, and I have Carnagorgon in hand. So I have multiple ways to redirect. I have 2 negations for any of his monster effects, which is pretty much the critical thing about this deck. It's not so much about stopping like their engine, it's more so about just stopping their monster effects once they invest resources into it, and then just being able to follow up on it. So the game is coming to an end here. Like I said, if you guys, I'll still commentate the last couple minutes. I think it's like a 24-minute video total, give or take. But at the end of this video, if you guys enjoyed this commentary and my perspective on some of these games, and would like to see more, drop a like, drop a comment. I'd really love to see you guys' stuff. Check out my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook fan page. All that stuff down in the description. You guys can play me on DN and whatnot. So here, by the way, I also opt to make this play because of Valkyris. So I'm still going to keep going, but I'm still pretty sure he has Valkyris. He's obviously been holding it for a while. I draw Dark Hole, which I'll probably end up just attacking. But I won't put Giant Hand to attack mode first, because if he doesn't have Valkyris, I win regardless. If he does have Valkyris, there's no need for me to put the Giant Hand in attack mode. So he's going to banish, he's going to go Valk. This doesn't matter to me because this is just a waste of resources to me. He loses another Valkyris from his hand that ends up getting banished itself. I set Dark Hole to continually keep avoiding the Trish. Like worst case scenario if somehow he could get it out. But this game is pretty much a wrap. Like, just establishing the Carnagorgon Floodgate, 1 defensive card, was pretty much enough. But the Giant Hand was just the icing on the cake. And I have a Dark Hole to back up any play that he can make. I don't see him being able to feasibly, Exiton me anyway here. He discards Unicorn to get back his Clausaurus. This doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter at this point. Like, he's running so low on resources. The fact that he doesn't have access to his grave is just so critical for me. There's really no way he can out this right now. But, yeah. Pretty sure. I think does he scoop here? I can't recall if he scoops here. I'm actually just trying to remember. He goes Kaleidomir. This is all fine. I don't have emptiness. I'm not going to do anything. And honestly, even if I did, I would be okay with all these plays, honestly. Like, there's nothing that he can do. I would just let it go until he wasted his resources, and then I would just emptiness him out of anything further after that. And that's pretty much all she wrote. But I'll definitely post more videos, not just with this deck, with other decks. Maybe get some more alternative perspectives. And the guy scoops here. And that's pretty much it, you guys. Check out my other videos. Subscribe if you haven't. Check out my channel. And Intch95, you guys. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.